Hello students. Now today again we are proceeding with the chapter question answers of this chapter 11 biotechnology principles and processes. So the first question of today is what is the difference between recombinant DNA and recombinant protein? The simple answer, what is recombinant DNA? This DNA is formed in the by the addition of the two different DNAs, whereas recombinant protein, this recombinant protein is formed in the host cell from the recombinant DNA. So now just have a look over here. Recombinant DNA is the plasmid vector containing the foreign DNA. That means we have two different DNA from different species or different sources. So plasmid vector containing the foreign DNA is called as a recombinant DNA, whereas recombinant protein is the product of transgenic gene in the host body or cell. When we have transferred, when we have incorporated the recombinant DNA in the host cell, then that cell produce proteins, and that protein is called as recombinant protein. So this is the answer of this question. Now second question. List the steps involved in recombinant DNA technology. Already we have done this thing, recombinant DNA technology, and I had also explained you about each and every steps of recombinant DNA technology. But the question is being asked, we have to write down only the steps, no explanation. It may be asked as a 2-mark question or as a 3-mark question. So only the steps to be written. So here are the steps one by one. There are the 9 steps in all. The first one is the isolation of DNA. DNA is isolated from the source. The second is the fragmentation of DNA, that means breaking down of the DNA by using the enzyme restriction endonuclease. Third step is isolation of the desired DNA fragment. Then the DNA fragment which is required by us, that is isolated. Amplification of the gene of interest, multiplication, making multiple copies of the gene of interest. Then ligation of the DNA fragments in the vector by using DNA ligase enzyme. That means we are joining the DNA fragment with the vector DNA. Then next is transfer of recombinant DNA into the host cell. Transfer this recombinant DNA we have get over here, and then this recombinant DNA is transferred into the host cell by making the cell competent. And we have already discussed this thing, how the cell is made competent. That means 2 methods are there, physical method and chemical method. This we have earlier discussed. Now the next is culturing the host cell on suitable medium. Means on the suitable medium or in the cultured media, these host cells, they are cultured so that the number of the cells can be increased. And next is extraction of the desired product. Means this is the recombinant protein. The host cell has been multiplied and now the host cell is having or is with the recombinant protein. So that protein is extracted from the host cell. Then at last is the downstream processing. That means processing is done, treatment is done, and then the product is sent into the market for cell purpose. So these are the steps of recombinant DNA technology. Now we go for the next question. Now students, again we are look over here at the another question. Write the role of ORI and restriction site in a cloning vector PBR322. So what is the role of ORI, that is the origin site, and restriction site in this vector PBR322? So what is the answer? ORI is what? It is the site of replication. Already ORI means origin of replication, where the replication begins. So we say that ORI is the site where replication starts. It is also responsible for controlling the copy number of the linked DNA. How many copies we require, that is controlled by the origin site or ORI site. So restriction site is what? It is the ligation site of foreign DNA with the vector DNA. When we are joining the foreign DNA into the vector DNA, so that site is called as the restriction site, where the restriction endonuclease has cut the DNA. So it is one of the two antibiotic resistance site. We have seen the diagram of the PBR 322 vector. In that we have seen resistance sites are there, antibiotic resistance site, ampicillin and tetracycline. So out of these two, any one can act as the restriction site. So now this is the answer of this question number 3. Now comes to the question number 4. Mention the 3 basic steps to be followed during genetic modification of an organism. When an organism is genetically modified, that means changes is done or modification is done in the genes of an organism, then what steps are taken? Though we have a long series of steps, but here it is asked only 3 steps. So this is the board question. It has came in near about 2011. So now see, what is the answer? Identification of DNA with the desirable gene. First of all, we have to identify the DNA which contain the desired gene which is having a specific character. So first step is identification of the DNA with a desirable gene. Second is introduction of the identified DNA into the host, because we want to have the genetically modified organism, so we have to incorporate the desired gene into the host body, then only we can have the multiple copies of it. So what is here? This second step is introduction of the identified DNA into the host. Now when we have inserted the DNA into the host cell, then we require to maintain the existence of DNA in the host cell so that the host cell can make its progeny, that means can increase the number of the desired gene. So now here third step is maintenance of introduced DNA in the host and transfer of the DNA into its progeny, that means to the next generation. So here is the 3 steps. In 3 steps we have concluded the genetically modified process of genetically modified organism, GMO. So these are the 2 questions. So overall 4 questions. Now we'll come to the next question. So now students, here we are having with the 5th question. Just have a look over here. A very small sample of tissue or even a drop of blood can help to determine paternity. Provide a scientific explanation to substantiate the statement. That means a small part of a tissue, small portion of a tissue or even a drop of blood can identify the paternity, whether the child is belong to the particular parent or not. So that means here we are going to understand about the DNA fingerprinting. So now just have a look over here that DNA from all the cells of the individual shows the same degree of polymorphism. That means they show the same categories. All the characteristics are same in all the cells. So and becomes the useful tool in identification. Okay, it becomes a useful identification tool. Now next is polymorphs are heritable. They are transferred from one generation to the other generation. So we say that polymorphs are heritable and a child inherits 15% of the chromosomes from each parent. As you already know that 50% of the chromosomes are transferred from the mother and 50% are from the father. So here we say that polymorphs are heritable and a child inherits 50% of the chromosomes from each parent. Then with the help of PCR, that is polymerase chain reaction, with the help of this PCR, small amount of DNA from the blood, it can be amplified, it can be increased to many times and be used in DNA fingerprinting to identify the paternity. So this question is a board question and it is very important to know the importance of PCR in DNA fingerprinting.